Hello everybody, and welcome back to our Fossils and Archaeology creative series. And today we are building a Dilophosaurus exhibit because it's been requested. I think on the last episode of this series and on the, oddly enough, the series we just started this week? I think it's this week. Man, I haven't uploaded in several days, so it's been a bit of a while. But yes, anyway, we're doing Dilophosaurus because of a couple of reasons. A, I wanted to do another swampy exhibit, and B, I wanted to do a carnivore that wasn't like a Ceratosaurus or something, because I feel like I usually do Ceratosaurs. So, yeah. Anyway, I have to say, this exhibit's a bit of an interesting one in my mind because obviously if you've seen the other 3 videos now, I guess, you know, I've tried to kind of leave the Jurassic Park-esque look behind. I've tried to go for a much more, like, I don't want to say realistic look because at the end of the day, you know, that you can't really have a realistic dinosaur exhibit since you can't have actual dinosaurs in real life. Well, I guess non-avian dinosaurs, but anyway, that's not the point. Is that we've been trying to do more zoo-esque builds. So more akin to what we've been doing at 1.16 with all those mods. And the last 2 exhibits, I think it's worked pretty well. I've kind of stuck to that style much better, you know, they look more like actual zoo exhibits. This exhibit, however, I don't know, it feels like it's kind of, and I guess I was kind of expecting this with carnivores, but because I'm so used to building carnivores in these very Jurassic Park styled builds, I think that kind of leaked into this build, and I didn't quite know how to build this. Well, I knew what I wanted to do for the interior. I just don't think I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of the build, so it's a bit odd, I'd say. I think it's a good build overall, but I think there's definitely some stuff I might come back later, revisit, rebuild, and try to make look a bit nicer, or make it fit a bit more consistently with the theme of the rest of the builds. But, you know, we'll figure all that out later when A, I've probably got more of a theme for this build established, and B, when I have a much clearer idea of what I want to do with this. So yeah, anyway, overall really cool build. We've got a lot more elevation to play with within this one. So we do like a cool waterfall. We do what I was talking about doing with the Adaptosaurs, where we have instead of one large body of water, we have like several smaller bodies of water that all kind of work together and kind of form a slowly drying out like creek bed almost, which I think is really cool looking. I was really happy with how that turned out. I don't know, I thought that was really fun. I actually had a lot of fun building that, and it's something I'd actually be really interested in doing again in maybe another build. We'll see. I guess it kind of just depends more on well, I guess what animal I pick and how big of an enclosure it's gonna be. Because I don't really want to do it for an absolutely massive build, but we'll see, you know? You never know what happens. Another weird thing with this build is the shelter, because I put it right next to a rock wall, which hasn't been a problem in the past, because when I've done this style of shelter usually, well, usually it's against a fence, or a wooden palisade, or something like that. Not up against a rock wall. Because this concrete texture for the building looks really good, and I mean, I've been using it for a while now, right? And I still think it looks fantastic. Problem is, it doesn't work when you put it next to rock walls, because suddenly that texture really just makes it look like the building is made out of rock instead of really weathered concrete like I want it to look. So yeah, I might need to do a bit more work over on the shelter and the rock wall, kind of trying to separate them a bit more, make it look a bit better, you know? We'll see what happens with it. Not super sure how it's all gonna go. The one thing I know I did get right with this fence, at least, I think the fences look pretty good for this. We go for just basically a slightly heavier duty version of the chain link fence we've been using for the other 2 exhibits. So it's, I mean, it literally is just the same. We put the same chain link fence on top of it all. and then just put a bit of a sturdier barrier on top of it and a railing along the top so they can't climb out. Which I was like, you know what? I think this looks pretty good. I think this looks, you know, it looks more like a zoo, like a big cat kind of fence, while also not looking, you know, like too over the top. I don't know. Maybe I should look at more big cat enclosures to try and figure out what we're gonna do here. That being said, I'm just thinking now, like a T-Rex and Spinosaur, or even an Allosaur really, there's not really a good real-life comparison to a creature like that, is there? We'll figure that out when we get there. You know what? That's all I'm gonna say. We'll figure that out when we get there. Anyway, yeah, it's looking pretty good overall. The viewing areas, I think, are my biggest issue with this, and then the two rock walls over by that second smaller viewing area. I feel like that, I don't know, half the exhibit looks fine, and then the other half, I don't know. There's just something off about it, and I can't figure out what it is, so I might have to do a little bit of, I don't know, a bit of a rework just to try and figure out what went wrong, how do we fix it, all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, overall, once again, I'm pretty happy with this build. I think it's turned out really well. Oh, we're starting the river build now. But yeah, I think that turned out really cool. That was actually tons of fun to build. And yeah, anyway, if you guys have any animals you would like to see me do, be they the dinosaurs or the mammals, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. I'd love to know what you guys are interested in seeing. Can't guarantee we'll get to each suggestion right away, but I'll try and do them as quickly as they come up if it fits whatever, you know, area we're working in. Also, that's funny. People have been asking me how I'm dividing this world up. Like, if I'm going to do it by era or I'm going to do it by, what was it, like environment? And I might be doing environment instead of era. Because although era is definitely a good way to do things, that's how I usually do it with zoos like this. And I kind of feel like doing it by environment might be a bit more interesting because although, yes, you know, it's like, oh, we have our Jurassic animals and our Cretaceous animals. Do we even have a Triassic dinosaur in the mod? Oh, I guess we have Compsognathus. I think that was the late Triassic, or is that early Jurassic? I don't really remember anymore. And we got like Permian creatures and Devonian and Carboniferous and all that stuff. Anyway, that being said, like, despite them all, you know, us having all these creatures from all these environments, or all these time periods, not all the creatures from each time period live in very similar environments. Like, for example, the Elasmotheriums being a savanna animal, while the mammoths are a tundra animal, while the saber-tooths are a, like, temperate animal, and the dodos are a tropical one. So it's kind of hard to fit them all into the same area without it looking kind of weird. If you want an example for that, you could see, I don't know, one of my old world tours for the Fossils and Archaeology Survival series that's kind of on a hiatus right now. It's a bit of a weird transition. So I think I might be doing it by environment for this world because I feel like that's going to flow a bit better. Even if, yes, you know, we have like a Jurassic animal with a Permian animal? I think Adaptosaurus is Permian. People will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But anyway, I think that's all I've got to say about the building of this. I really like the trees. They were fun to build as well. But I'm going to let the rest of this play out, and I'll catch back up with you guys in the showcase. Alright everybody, and we are here with the final exhibit. Although before we get to that real quick, I actually want to show off something, and that is, I came back and did a bit of extra work on the exhibit, exhibits of the previous episodes. Yes, anyway, man, I can't speak English today. Basically, I just came back there into the Adaptosaur exhibit. And we got seating, we got lighting, we got signs, all sorts of cool stuff. And I did this. I actually made the interior shelter thing. Yes. So yeah, I really like this. think it turned out really well. I'm very happy with it. I also did stuff over here, kind of. Yes, no, maybe so. Basically, I just kind of started trying to figure out how we're going to get the rest of the park going. Because, I don't know, having these two exhibits here kind of made it a bit weird. It would have been less difficult if I hadn't put the shelter for the Pachycephalosaurus right here. If I'd put it over there, this would have been a much easier problem to solve. However, I didn't do that, so that means I gotta figure out weird little junctions and stuff now. Like this area, speaking of which, if you see this and you're like, this looks really weird, it does look weird. It actually kind of looks pretty terrible. I'm gonna work on fixing it and making it not look terrible. I just don't know how to yet. But yes, anyway, this is the Dilophosaur exhibit. It's not overly big. It's probably about the same size as the last two builds we've done, so I guess that's okay. We definitely put far fewer creatures in here. I think I only put 2 Dilos in the end, but I'm pretty happy with it. There's a few things here and there that I'm not sure about necessarily. This viewing area is actually one of them. Well, actually both the viewing areas in here. Just because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with the viewing, and I think this works pretty well. I might come back and edit it later down the line at some point, but other than that, both the viewing areas certainly serve their purpose well. You get good views into the enclosures and whatnot, and that's probably the most important thing. However, I really love how this turned out on the inside. Because I was doing a little bit of research into Dilophosaurus and its hypothetical environment, which I wasn't going to recreate fully because, as I've said before, that's not really what I want to do with any of these. I just want to kind of have a cool idea, and I got a cool idea looking some of that up. And basically it was just that, oh, these things probably lived in these little like river oases in the middle of like deserts. Now I didn't really want to do a desert, but I was like, oh, we could do an oasis type thing. And then I kind of just ended up doing what I was kind of wanting to do with the Adaptosaurs, which was these multiple like ponds and estuaries kind of feeding from this small creek. And I don't know, I think it turned out really cool. I really like it. I also like that we've only got these kind of more scraggly, smaller trees, because I feel like that kind of fits with the more, I don't know, I feel like this has a almost more of a monsoon look to it, which I would kind of know since that's closer to where I live, but basically you got like these rivers and pools and ponds and stuff that only fill up when it rains. So most of the year they're completely dry, hence why there would be all these dead trees kind of sitting around, and some smaller living trees that don't need as much water. But when the rainstorms come in, all this fills up and you have all these big lakes and rivers, and maybe this is either like a few days or a few weeks after, it's had that big storm, so the water's kind of receding, which is why it's all these little puddles and ponds instead of, one big lake type thing. I don't know. I thought that was a cool thing. But, yeah, that's that. Another issue I have is I might actually just try and solve this like this. Well, A, I didn't do the interior for the shelter, but B, trying to get the this to not blend into that, kind of the problem of using all these blocks also in the rock walls. So yeah, I might have to figure that out later. But overall, pretty happy with the build. I think it turned out pretty good. It definitely has a more realistic feel to it than a lot of my previous Dilophosaur exhibits. Like these look more like real kind of big cat fences rather than Jurassic Park-esque fences. So yeah, I think this just turned out pretty good. But yeah, that's all we've got for today, guys. So I hope you've all enjoyed this build. Hope you're all looking forward to more. And until next time, guys, see ya.